guys. Sorry we haven't seen you in a while. Things have been not super chill on a political global scale.
Personal scale, like all scales.
Every scale is like, you know when the numbers disappear and it just says like 999 or
Yes.
like 00? That's what's happening to every scale.
Oh my God. Did you see, I don't know how to say her name. Do you see Emily Ratajkowski?
Oh, was that the model?
Yeah, the model who got the
Yeah.
haircut. Well, everyone was like, well, obviously Venus is in retrograde, so you should never make beauty decisions right now. And I'm like, I just feel like everything might be in retrograde. Like I haven't Googled it, but I feel it in my womanly bones.
A bunch of people have been posting their charts and been like, what's wrong with me? And I think I need to do that. Like, and what's crazy is years ago, I like halfway believe in astrology. I believe in it in the sense that like, if the moon can affect the whole ass entire ocean,
Right.
it has to be doing something to us. That's where I'm at. And like years ago, this astrologer told me, like the year I was 27, she was like, it's going to be an extremely chaotic year, but like you'll come out on top. And I was like, yeah, girl, whatever. And she was like, there's going to be major shifts like in your career, like your whole life. Like there's going to be a lot of change and it's going to be really chaotic. And I literally forgot about that until maybe like a week ago. But I was like, damn, bitch.
Oh my God. I want her number immediately.
But she also did tell me I was going to get divorced a year ago, and that never happened.
Well, did you get a metaphorical divorce?
That's what I'm trying to think. The only thing I could think that might be that, because she was like, I see a divorce-like event, is maybe my old principal that I loved so much, him leaving with the entire admin team.
Oh my God. That was awful, actually.
It's kind of like funny.
It's funny in hindsight, and I also think it's funny in hindsight that your kids had like a protest where they marched the halls with signs about this admin change.
And
But,
one
like,
day we are going to have a full like 4-part series about every detail of this, but
I'm so
it's been
excited.
a lot.
It has been awful. And the star chart thing was interesting because I'm like you, and I think you're the one that said the moon thing to me that really resonated, and I was like, oh wait, hang on. But I tried to log back into CoStar to get that chart, and I couldn't fucking log in, and I got so frustrated that I like rage quit Google Chrome, and I was like, I also think that says something about me that was the escalation and the reaction to that. I don't know.
I still get the CoStar notifications, and yesterday, I don't know why this pissed me off so bad, but we're like in the process of moving, and like, you know how men just want to go? Like they just have energy, and if you don't give them a task, they'll just pick a task.
Yeah.
I look outside, he's hosing down the pollen off of our cars. It's gonna come back in 2 seconds. Like what it... And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to ignore that and just keep doing what I was doing.
Right.
And then I looked down at my phone and I see an app from, I think it was CoStar or another one of those apps I downloaded in some emotional crisis. And it said, it said something about rage. It was like, your rage is valid or your rage is real or something like that. And I was like, get out. Get out.
It's creepy. Moving is also
I was
so
like,
stressful.
Yeah, man, fucking hose the cars down. Like you
I know,
you can do that right now. Like
we're all having our mental breaks in our own way. Oh my God.
But to wake up and see all of his shoes in a trash bag and then him hosing the cars down made me laugh so hard. Like it was really funny.
The juxtaposition of it all. I don't know. It's like everything is a little bit falling apart, and it's just like you're seizing control where you can, just in general. Politically, the world is on fire, and I don't even think that that's a partisan statement anymore. Like, I don't think that is something that somebody could be like, no, it's fine. It's kind of crazy.
I'm just glad I'm at least at the point in my curriculum now, because when the election was happening, I was in the point of the curriculum where we were learning about like the Constitution and like checks and balances. So when the election was happening, everyone was like, all the kids were like, why is he saying that? Isn't that illegal? And I was like, it is. But I'm at least now in the point in history. So like one of my classes is doing the Great Depression and the other one is in like the Cold War. So now at least we're talking about stuff that I can be like, see all these other times a bunch of really illegal stuff happened. Many times crime happens in our government. I'm like, look at Sacco and Vanzetti. They were murdered for nothing. Maybe they murdered, but we didn't know. Let me do our life updates. So a lot of you all have known that and for a while we've been in the process of buying a house. We just closed like very shortly before recording this. And so soon I'm going to make a YouTube video detailing the process of buying the house. I was going to wait till we've actually moved in because we bought the good old investor special. We got the good old, I'm here to make a buck and get out. So like you walk in and you're like, oh, new, gorgeous. And then you open the crawl space and you're like, oh, the insulation is filled with mold. So you're like, okay, perfect. So there is about 2 weeks and $7,000 worth of work that needs to be done. So things could be worse. Things could definitely be worse. And we knew that before we bought it. So, and I anticipate finding more problems just because that's how life goes with houses apparently.
But the investment special is exciting. We did the same exact thing. And like, it's a bitch, but it's also like after it's done a little bit, you're like, wow, we really fucking did that. Good for us, you know?
Yeah. And so like it's not really going to look that different. There's a few things I want to do that are very small. Like I love the cabinets they picked, but I hate the cabinet poles. But that's I can fix that for very cheap. And then like a couple of the light fixtures are like you can just tell it's an investor special. Like they have this like pretty gold, not a chandelier, but like, you know, like a little light fixture above where you'd put a kitchen table. And like it could be cute if you put like cute light bulbs in it, but they just put like bright ass fluorescent regular ones that like the little plastic pieces. So just stuff like that where I'm like, okay, man. Like, we can do better than that. We can do better than that. So that's very exciting. What else is happening? Everyone probably already knows, but I don't think I told the podcast that we're engaged. We're getting married. If you see me already calling him my husband on the internet, I think the word fiance is really cringy. I'm not doing it. I tried it for like a week, and I was like, I don't like tweeting. I don't like talking. And it's one thing I will say, I was also going to make a video about this. It's very interesting to be an engaged woman who decenters men in a world that really centers men. Because like, not to sound like, oh, I don't care, because I do, and I'm really excited. But when people were like, oh my God, was it the best moment of your entire life? I'm like, I don't know, maybe. Like, I haven't really ranked them.
I know, I'm the same way, yeah.
And the thing that gets me, the thing that I like really don't feel at all, that like I really don't get at all, is people are like, oh my God, I bet you were just waiting for this. And I'm like, I really wasn't. Like, I was excited and I said yes, but I wasn't like, you've got 7 months before I fucking leave and go. And then let me know if you think this is insane. I think it's insane, but it seems to be very common. A lot of people think it's very odd that I was 100% surprised. Like, we'd obviously talked about the future and getting married, but the amount of people that before the guy proposes, they're looking at venues, they're putting down deposits, they're picking dates. Like, people were like, oh my God, have you thought about venues yet? And I'm like, no. What? Like,
you didn't have like a Pinterest board?
No, I have nothing.
Oh, see, I had the Pinterest board, but I wasn't going fully to booking venues or dresses or whatever.
I could easily name 5 people that went to go see venues with their significant other before a proposal. And they were like, well, stuff books up.
It sure freaking does. But like, yeah.
But like, I don't know. Because we got engaged, we got engaged, it's March, like 3 months ago. Mm-hmm. We just probably won't get married for a little bit. Like, if it books up that serious. And this is the other thing that gets me. Everyone says, oh, it takes like this long to plan a wedding. Everything books out multiple years in advance. The same venues are hosting parties, birthdays. Mm-hmm. So I can't imagine everywhere in America is booked out 30 years in advance. I think some of you bitches are just very picky, and that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
But like, I think if you are a little more open, you probably can book a venue a year in advance.
Yeah.
As someone that worked at a hotel that hosted weddings, I saw someone plan theirs in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And it had 150 people at it.
Yeah. I think it's totally doable, especially if you have like a planner who's dedicated to that.
Oh, I'm not doing that shit. That's someone else's problem.
Yeah, my wedding was actually, as you know, fucking insane. I regularly say it was the worst day of my life, but my marriage was like, that was the day that I was like, I married the right man because this is a shit show and you are wonderful and I'm in love with you. It's been...
Have you seen Sex and the City?
No.
Do you care if I spoil it?
No.
Okay, that's like a plot line on the show is one of the women like gets married to this guy and it's supposed to be like all sunshine and roses. They have this beautiful, perfect wedding, but then they end up with a super short marriage because their marriage is just like a total shit show. Like they got married very quick and it's a total shit show. And the show went on for a while. So then later on in the show, she goes on to marry this different guy and their wedding was like a shit show. Like someone's bracelet broke at the altar and like beads flew everywhere. Like when they broke the glass, because it was a Jewish wedding, it wouldn't break. Someone caught their bouquet on fire at the reception. Like it was like, it's a show, so it was comedic. But I found out about that show. They had a rule in the writer's room that anything that happened to one of the women, the writer had to have known the person that it happened to. Like it had to come from reality. So that's why, like, obviously so many crazy things happen to them, which is unrealistic, but that's why it rings so true.
I love that.
So like the way that someone would dump them, that was like insane. All of those are real from like random friends and families of the writer. It's the best worst show that I think is really critical to the culture of the modern American woman.
My God, I love that. My friend in high school was really into those shows, and I like just never, I don't know, I never got into it. But yeah, that wedding was, my wedding was just, I wish it was like random, like there was random little things, like we didn't have spoons. They didn't put out the seating chart. They took it away because they were like, it's wrong. And I was like, refresh the Google Doc, please. It's correct. Put it back. But it was more like the things that went wrong were like personal sabotage from family members. And my biological
Isn't
father.
that fun?
I know, right? And my biological father showing up and trying to get into like my dressing room and like all kinds of, like, it was levels of insanity that I cannot even express publicly. But I think that people like I did like really build up the wedding thing, and it's like you have all these expectations, and it's a lot of fucking money, and it's a lot of pressure from a lot of people who are also like, oh, well, this is a really important day for us too, so you have to do X, Y, and Z. And then in hindsight, it's like I should have done none of that. I should have just like done exactly what we wanted, done something really small.
This is the curse. You're an older sister. I'm a younger sister. Mm-hmm. This is the great part about being a younger sister. Someone figures this out for you. And that's, I think, why I don't feel so much pressure and why my family is being a lot more chill, because my older sister had a very, very, very small wedding. And this was pre-COVID when like that was weird. Mm-hmm. She had a very small wedding and did it like, this is what we want vibes. Like literally they did whatever they want. They didn't care about like tradition or pressure at all. So like everyone already had to like cast those emotional burdens of tradition with her wedding. So like there's less pressure on mine, I feel, because they saw like, oh, it was still a really fun time. Because how many people were at her wedding, including the bride and groom? I think there were only 10 of us.
Wow.
And it was like a trip. Like we did it as a trip together and all stayed at a hotel together. So it was like very fun vibes. So I think that made everyone be very open, so that when we've been, and we haven't started planning the wedding at all. We were like, let's focus on the house first. Yeah. So when we've been like casually talking about different ideas for the wedding, people are much more open. And my fiance's cousin is doing like they're doing a very traditional reception, but their wedding I think is very small. I don't think I'm coming. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I assume if I was not explicitly told I'm coming, I'm not.
Oh my God. One of my best friends from childhood had a wedding like that. And when I went to the wedding in Florida, when I saw you the first time, mm-hmm. I went to her ceremony and sat down and realized that it was like an invite only, very, very small select group of people that went to the ceremony.
You had to
and
leave.
I literally looked around and I was like,
wait, you were invited?
I confirmed with her after. We were like at brunch a month later and I was like, was I supposed to come to that? And she was like, yeah. Yes, you were supposed to be there. That's how you knew about it.
I also feel like it's also because you traveled too. Like, I think if you're asking people to travel far, you kind of got to let them in. That's my stance with it. Because I and you know me, I do not make decisions based on what makes other people happy. But I do think as the host of an event, you do have a duty to like be, what's the word I'm looking for? Like hospitable.
Well, the thing that really set me off was that once the reception started, people from like high school were rolling in that flew over. And I was like, was I supposed to be here?
I feel like if you weren't supposed to be there, you wouldn't have known it existed. Kind of. That's like what she said. Like the thing that is happening to me. Like the invitation that came to my house said, you are cordially invited to the reception and celebration of. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, clear. Yeah. I see you. You see me. Got it.
I just was like so paranoid.
And I was like, oh, yeah, obviously your cousin's fiance doesn't make like the top of the fucking list.
I ruined my rental dress from that night. Ruined it. Like, holy shit.
I haven't gotten into the rental dress thing.
I mean, it's great, But like that was the only time I've ever ruined a rental item of clothing. And it was like,
Do you have to buy it, or do they just like
no,
ban
they
you?
just take it.
Oh, give it to
It's like,
someone
I
else.
guess they
It's
just
their
build it
problem.
into their cost. They're like, people are
Probably.
going to go to weddings and eat Taco Bell and sit on the ground and look like they got run over by a car. Like,
And you did. And you did.
I know, I did. I had a great time. Anyways,
So that's what's happening in our lives. What's happening in the news? Because aside from my life, the old age saying is true. When your life is going great, your professional life is a disaster, and vice versa. When your professional life is great, your personal life is a disaster. So right now, my personal life is great. My professional life is one big, fat, giant question mark. Who knows what's going on? Whole new admin team, so many positions in my school open. New principal has expressed he wants to rearrange the entire school, so every single person's going to move classrooms, allegedly. So I'm just like, yeah, man, we're rolling with the punches. Whatever happens, happens. Who knows what the next year holds for us? So I have not been paying attention to the news much at all. I watch the NBC or ABC nightly news every evening, but their education reporting is a little lacking. When they have us on, it's perfect, and that's when they're doing it well. The time that we were on NBC, that's when the education reporting was at its best.
yeah,
But on a day-to-day basis, they're not talking much about it.
I know. And like obviously from a professional standpoint, that's my biggest issue right now is like battling with these media outlets that literally don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And it shows,
And
unfortunately.
like it seems like the part that's most concerning to me is it's the double whammy of them not knowing what they're talking about and also not caring that they don't know what they're talking about. The
Right.
amount of like people that have sent me DMs and things like that have been like, are you going to lose your job because they're eliminating the Department of Education? And like, you're not even, and I don't even say that like you shouldn't ask me that, because there are people within my school who are Title I funded, their position. So it very much could happen to them, but not me. I'm not one of those people. So it's like, it is a valid question to ask, but like you asking me that question shows me how bad the reporting on this has been, because it's so unclear to everyone what is possible and what's not.
Yeah, it's very complicated, and that's a big issue because the things that hit and the headlines that get bites are really simplistic and really like minimal. And then the truth is actually very complicated, and it takes a lot of time to explain everything, and people don't have that attention span or time, especially if they're emotionally elevated and they're in a place where they're like freaked the fuck out about these things. They're not going to come to your video and finish it. They're going to not even finish a thread. Like I can't even write a thread half the time with people reading to the end because they get so emotionally activated by the beginning that it's like out the window, and it's really difficult to not only navigate the media but the emotional response people are having to these things.
And that's like, that's part of the play of the right, is just to like overwhelm and cause chaos so that they can get away with things. And then also what I'm seeing, even just within myself, is it's like, ugh, this pimple's pissing me off. Anyway, what I see within myself is like, I guess like the triage of like fear, like the triage of scary things that are happening. And like some of the news pieces that are not about education to me are more concerning than some of the education news pieces in terms of immediate impact on people. So I can see why education's kind of getting ignored, because there's just so much shit going on. And like, me seeing a video of a woman literally get kidnapped off the street to me is more politically, even though that kind of is education related because she was a grad student.
Yeah.
But to me, that's a little more like immediately concerning than like cutting to bureaucratic agencies that it's still important, obviously, but it's a little more complicated and like, you know, it's hard to like have attention on everything at one time.
It really is. And like people DM me and they're like, are you going to talk about X, Y, or Z? And I like graze on everything, and I'm informed about things, but to go put it on my platform, like I'm like,
you want to be like
education
hyper informed.
station. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I am spending 8 hours a day, sometimes 12, doing this shit, which is why we're recording this fucking podcast at 6 a.m. on a Sunday.
You are busy. You are in your I'm just a bill outfit, and you are saving our country.
Thank you. But yeah, it is a lot to try to stay informed with everything. So it's like, yeah. And on that note, the news is very interesting right now. It's, in particular, a lot of it is like defense, I would say. So it's in response to a lot of the things that are coming down from Washington, where schools and districts and states are reacting to those actions and also doing things to try to counter those actions. And that's a great deal of what's happening in schools right now. I would love to say that there's like all these other things happening, very, very minimal outside of people reacting to the executive orders and the court cases that are ongoing.
I want to see a politician that's ready to play ball. Like, I want to see a politician that's ready for it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and we all wore matching jackets. Like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Like, like I'm going to come to your house and talk to you about this in a non-violent way. FBI, please don't come to my house. But do something. Even try and look like you're doing something.
Mm-hmm. I went to see Robert Garcia speak yesterday at Town Hall, and he had a lot of
your sweater.
Thanks. It's Taylor Swift. He had a lot of really good things to say, and he very clearly was like, we cannot play respectability politics anymore. We cannot play nice. We cannot play by the rules anymore. Like, that is out the window.
When they go low, I'm going underneath the earth.
Oh, I'm in hell. Yeah. And he was like, this is not the moment for bipartisanship, because that is not an option. And when you do something like Chuck Schumer did and you vote yes on a bill that, well, he wasn't the only one, but I'm really pissed about Chuck Schumer as the leader. But when you vote yes on a bill that's inherently harmful to people and it gives the right a big ass win, you look like a fucking idiot. And you are an idiot. I'm so sorry. Like, that is the stupidest shit I have ever seen anybody do. And it made everything else harder, because then how do you say to people, oh, they're going to put up a unified front and they're not going to pass the SAVE Act? And people are like, how do you know they're not going to pass the SAVE Act? Because Chuck Schumer is going to blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I can't argue with you, actually. How do you?
You're like, I actually don't have shit to say. Consider me silenced.
Consider me shut the fuck up. So yeah, I agree with you. I need politicians to be ready to play fucking ball, and like Jasmine Crockett and Maxwell Frost and Robert Garcia are like ready to rock and roll. I do think the House is more unified than the Senate. I think the Senate is pissing me the fuck off, because it's a lot of people that are like, well, that we don't want to cause chaos to the American people. And I'm like, chaos is on the doorstep.
Too late, brother.
Sir. Yeah.
Too late.
Yeah. So it's crazy, but people, we're doing what we can. And the problem with being on the defense all the time is that the right is shaping the narrative. And for the media really is picking up on that and doing a lot of fear mongering by those oversimplified headlines and oversimplified stories that may have incorrect information in them. And I've moved on from like, I'm not going to toot my own horn, and moved into the era of I'm going to toot my own fucking horn. My page, my information comes out before the media. It comes out before the unions. It comes out before Congress people. I report shit in education and dissect it before literally anybody else. So like, I get really frustrated when I say something that's correct, and then I have somebody like NBC put out some bullshit, and then I have people sending me links saying, but NBC says this, and I have to be like, NBC is wrong. I don't know. Like, I know that sounds like I'm doing like the far right thing of like fake news, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't like how that comes off, and I appreciate the work that the media does. But I also think that it's like difficult to combat that when people that are so reputable and so traditionally with it are so off base with the education shit sometimes.
And like, I don't even think it's you being like fake news. It's you being like lacking news, like the Swiss cheese news. Like, yes, I guess you can technically say that, but like, you are missing so much of the picture here. Like, I don't think you're trying to say people in the media are being purposefully manipulative or deceitful or reporting things that never happened. They're just missing so much and like explaining it in a way that makes it different than what it actually is. I don't even think it's necessarily coming from a place of malice. It's just a place of like, do better. Like, this is another thing that has been the shitification of everything. So I did a stream about that a while ago, and I was mainly talking about like products, like how things are not made as well as they used to be. But I also think it's like AI shitifying people's work. And I've seen it within myself. Like, as I've been using more AI, like the other day I did something with my class and it was like kind of fucked up. Like, the kids were like, wait, where's the answer to this? And then I was like, where is the answer to that? And like, it's because I was moving too fast. I was using AI and I forgot to like put one of the sections that I needed to put on their thing. And like, I see that in myself, and I see that in organizations that are very large and should not be having those kind of problems. Like, I'm just one person and I'm trying my best. So like, when I do it, sorry, I tried. But like, when I see major companies doing it, and I feel like I'm seeing more and more major companies put out things with like typos and missing links and broken things. And I'm like, you guys are making all of this fucking money, especially the major players that get all this advertising money. Local journalists, you could literally write it on a Post-it and I'd be like, thank you for your service. Mm-hmm. But when like major news outlets are missing these things and they put out things that you can tell AI was a part of the writing process, because I will say, even if a company says AI is against our policy, their fucking employees are using it. No one is enforcing that. Their employees absolutely have ChatGPT on their iPad and are airdropping it to their work computer. Okay, don't play with me right now. But when I'm seeing just stuff that like news just being not reported well, like you open a headline of an article and then the article is only like 5 sentences and it has like 6 ads in it and no details, no sources, no quotes, no explanations. And I'm like,
and they'll put it
do
behind
better.
a paywall.
Yeah. And then they have the audacity to be like, turn your ad blocker off if you want to read my 4 sentences of nothing. That's just the headline retyped in different formats.
And I need you to know that literally has happened to me multiple times where I've posted a headline and somebody's like, I want to read the whole story and it's behind a paywall. And I'm like, baby, it doesn't say anything. They
like,
wrote
don't
the
even worry about
again, and that's it. There's
like the headline will be like, Trump making cuts to education. And then the article will be like, last Wednesday, Trump announced he will be making cuts to the Department of Education. We anticipate these cuts affecting students and teachers. These cuts will be coming forth in the near future. And then it's just that every week.
Yeah. And you know what? To go back to the, because I'm going to be a bitch, I do think that there are individuals that do absolutely sensationalize things for clicks and for money. And I've gotten on their ass and I've been like, I don't shit where you work, all right? I don't come into your lane and fuck around with what you're doing. But you being as big as you are and doing what you're doing is actually making my life so much more difficult. And I know you have access to the same shit that I do. I know you do. We're all getting the same stuff on the back end and there's nothing else. So I hear you when you say like it's not malicious, because in a lot of ways I don't actually think it is. Like, I get mad about it, but then
a lot of times it's negligence, but I think in the social media space, sometimes it is like they're exploiting it.
Well, yeah.
Like, I don't think they're doing it to hurt people, but I think they don't give a fuck that people are getting hurt in their exploit of more clicks.
Yes. And I also think they don't think it's a big deal. I think that's really what it is. They don't think it's a big deal. And I think that the misinformation around education is people say something and they say, well, it's basically the same thing. Like, if we look at the executive order to quote unquote dismantle the Department of Education, which is the biggest that, if you're on my page, I'm bitching about this every fucking day, because there are literally people that think the Department of Education is gone because the reporting around it was Trump abolishes Department of Education, Trump dismantles Department of Education. So now when I'm talking about things that the department is doing, people are coming to me over and over and over again and saying, no, he dismantled that. I thought that was gone. No, it is not gone. But because a lot of people looked at the news story and said, well, it basically means that it's gone. Basically means this. No, it basically fucking doesn't. And that's what upsets me.
They laid off a ton of people, but it was about half of the people.
But
it wasn't everybody.
No, it wasn't everybody, but it also was before the executive order was signed. So people are like, well, they're laying people off. Baby, that was before. But they cut all this funding. That was before. Like, it had nothing to do with it. So in terms of like what's in the news, it's everything that is going on right now for the most part is like around cuts to things like early education programs because the funding is fucked up and there's layoffs. There's also a ton of stuff about eliminating DEI programs, and it's people by and large being like, I think this is a DEI program, so we're gonna cut it. I guess
one of the words on the list was women.
No,
I was like, when you're a woman, it is woke.
Yeah.
You're done.
Oh my God, I know. And the bastardization of the word woke is also so tragic. Like,
the DEI thing is like it's kind of like the communism in the Red Scare, but it's even less serious.
Yeah.
Because like in the Red Scare, they would be like, you're having the kids share, that's communism. And I feel like that was crazy. And now the DEI one is like even crazier, that I'm like, how'd we get here? Like the Red Scare was really not chill and not okay. But what the stuff that I'm seeing people on Twitter be like, DEI? I'm like, that's just people.
I know.
Like, it'll literally be like kids at a playground and they're like, do you see how woke that slide is? And I'm like, it's a dragon. Like, what are you talking about?
What are we doing? And like the teacher who had the like everyone is welcome here sign.
And it was just a bunch of hands?
Just a bunch of hands in many, many skin tones. And they were like, you can't have that.
That reminds me of like, this was a while ago. I don't know if you remember this. This was in like 2021, maybe 2020, during like the summer where there was a lot of protest. Some people came after a kindergarten teacher because she had the kindness rainbow. And like at that time, we thought it was such a joke and it was just like random people on Twitter. But then like fast forward 5 years and it's literally the federal government being like, the kindness rainbow must come down.
Yes, it's and that is the maddening thing to me, that I can't put this work down. Like, I can't fucking stop. People are like, how are you doing like all of this stuff? Like, aren't you tired? And I'm like, yes, I'm very tired. But like that to me is a phenomenon.
Filled with rage.
I'm fueled by ancient feminine rage. And I cannot put it down, because that to me, like you said, it's like, how the fuck did we get here? These people need to be deprogrammed as if they have left a cult. Like, it is crazy shit that's going on.
And this is the thing that I think is really, I always try and think about when I am thinking about people on like the other end of the political spectrum, is like, what can we agree on? Not to be like bipartisan or like be like, oh, we should hear them out. But I always try and think of like, okay, most Americans probably want a lot of the same things. Like, most Americans want our economy to be thriving. Most Americans want their children to be able to secure a decent future for themselves. So what I'm struggling with is like, so many of these things are tangibly bad for the US in ways that are just so obvious. Because like, I just looked up news for education right now. And this is one thing that really, my mom talks about this a lot, about like the thing she hates the most about Trump is how it's like really bad PR for America. And this says, international students weigh risk of pursuing higher education in the U.S. under Trump. If we want the U.S., like, I don't really give a fuck about this, but if I'm trying to put myself in the Republican mind, if you want the U.S. to be a major world leader, like you want us to be that bitch of the world, which we historically have kind of been like, well known for a lot of our higher education institutions, like Harvard, Columbia, Yale, like they are respected internationally. And if you would like us to continue...
Sorry, I thought it was my child, so I took out the headphone, and then it was a fucking goose in my backyard.
Oh, I thought it was your child, too. I heard it, and I thought it was your child.
It was a goose. Anyways, continue.
So, like, if we want the U.S. to continue to having the reputation we have of, like, premier academic research institutions, like your Harvard, your Yale, your Columbia, that are very internationally respected, if we are constantly ripping funding out of these places, the international community is not going to respect these institutions. And that is going to be bad for our economy, because part of the reason the U.S. has economic value is because a lot of people respected a lot of our institutions, some government institutions and some not government institutions. So if, like, I get that Trump is trying to exert all this control over these, like, hashtag woke private schools, but like, brother, these hashtag woke private schools are doing a lot of PR for your country and bringing in like some of the best minds of the world, and however you want to qualify best, because I think some of the smartest people are probably living in poverty. But like, if you go to rich people all around the world, a lot of them historically have wanted their children in US education. Like I remember when I was in high school, I did a summer program in Los Angeles at USC, which is like a very well-renowned university. There were tons of kids there from other countries, and they were like, yeah, my parents said I have to go to college in the United States. And this was in like 2015, so like way before any of this, but I don't think we're going to have that reputation anymore. Like the US is not going to have respected educational entities. And I think like the public schools in the US have a lot of work to do, obviously. That's what this whole fucking podcast is about. But I think that a lot of the research universities in the United States are like some of the most respected in the entire world. And I think it's just a shame that a dumbass political leader is like ripping all of these accomplishments and this clout of these universities to our country, when I think that was kind of like one of our biggest draw factors as a nation. So that's depressing. And like, if you want to be of the mindset that like America should be the number one baddest bitch, you should want all the smartest bitches across the world to be coming here for college. And the smartest bitches are not going to send their smart bitch children here if our shit is a mess like this.
I know, it's so embarrassing. This is literally affecting the future of our country because it is also shaping not only the future workforce, but the literal way that future voters think. And it's going to be so difficult to undo all of this damage that has been done. I just keep thinking, I hope somebody's taking notes on what is being rolled back and what is disappearing, because there's so much to put back into place that we're going to be dealing with the repercussions of this in the way that we are still dealing with the repercussions of Reagan.
Okay, not to take it there, but I'm going to take it there. One thing that does kind of bring me a little bit of inspiration is that I do think that our country is about to be destroyed. I do fully think that we're going to have to rebuild. And so like everything, like I think like buildings are going to be burned, entire cities are going to be demolished. Like I maybe I'm crazy, but like I really do think that, because I think I like really compare what's happening now to like the rise of fascism in Europe, like prior to World War II. And then I'm thinking about how after World War II, Germany, but also other European countries rebuilt their entire government in a completely new way. And then like now the German government is something that like a lot of things they do in Germany, I think like could be really cool if America did that. Like a lot of the German policy around education and healthcare and things like that. So part of me is like, you know what, at least maybe we could build it better. Like we could make it better than it was historically. Like you're saying take notes on what was rolled back, but then also like maybe we could dream even bigger. Like maybe this will be the time where like it gets so shitty that it makes some people wake up. Like when the Republicans only have sand to feed their children, maybe they'll be like, okay, you guys might have been onto something.
Yeah. No, I think I could totally see that happening. And I feel
like in the Great Depression, we had no social programs at all. In the Great Depression, like dramatically changed our government and made people a lot more open-minded to social programs.
Yeah.
When you're starving, you get open-minded quick.
That's a really good point, actually. And I do think there's a lot of really big change, like on the horizon, so to speak. It's scary to be in the middle of it. It's scary to have kids at a moment like this, and it's scary to be a teacher at a moment like this. And it's like when you're really up close and personal with the youth while this is going on, and like you have kids that are asking you like really hard questions.
They do have really hard questions. And I just kind of look at them and I say, I compare it to, I showed them this thing where it was like a sign at a park that said like, dogs cannot do this. And I was like, do you think that sign was there before a dog did that? And they were like, no, who would think of that? I think it had like a dog on a skateboard or something. And they were like, no, who would put that sign there? And I was like, see, we've never had a felon run for president, so we didn't have a law about it. Because I was like, if it's never happened, we don't have any laws about it. And I tell them, so this guy, Eugene Debs, he was a socialist and he got imprisoned during the first Red Scare. And then he ran for president from prison. And he was like, his whole shtick was that like the country was repressing free speech. And he didn't win. But I use that as an example of like, you know, he still wanted to make his voice heard when he was being imprisoned. And so that's kind of, to me, that's like the most comparable, because it's like someone with like a really heavy charge running for president. But Donald Trump never even went to prison.
No, he really did not. It's a mess. I mean, we could go on forever and ever, but it just is such a scary mess right now. And I think that's like going back to education. Not only is that why I think education is so fucking important, but it's also why I think the way we talk about education in the media has to be so accurate and nuanced, because if we're at risk of losing the federal United States Department of Education, we need to be placing blame on the feds for what they're actually fucking up. And also then when it's the state governments or the local governments or the schools or the companies, like whoever is actually fucking up needs to be accurately pinpointed. Because if you're saying like, oh, the department, not you, but like if I know I just yelled at you about this, but if we're saying like, oh, the U.S. Department of Education is doing X, Y, or Z, but it's actually the fault of the state departments, then if we get rid of the federal oversight, the states are just going to do it more, and it's just going to be worse. And people are going to be like, wait, but I thought that was going to fix it. And it's like, no, it was never going to fix it.
And my earlier point, I know a lot of stuff is not their job.
I think we cut it out.
We did. But for those of you that we cut it out, we got in a fight because... I feel like the federal Department of Education has done nothing for my local area. And the part that I'm upset about is that there's lots of laws being violated in my local area, and their office was right here. And literally, like, I feel like they should be sitting outside the school being like, parents, children, would you like to know about your rights? Like, that's what I want them boots on the ground. And now they've all been fired. So I don't think they're coming to save us.
They're not coming. But really,
no one's
truly,
coming.
Your state Department of Education and your school board and like local leadership should be doing that.
My school board is too busy making a school board appreciation week.
Oh, good.
They all got a different day of the week, and their faces were on the sign. And this was like 2 weeks ago. I was like, in the current political climate, we're going to have school board appreciation week? Really?
It's just so indicative of what's going on right now. Like, that to me is so fucking funny that like the world is on fire and you're like, you know what we need? To be appreciated for who we are and all that.
Don't forget that they also doubled the amount of testing I have to give.
Oh
they said, oh, politically, you're in a lot of danger. What we thought might help was a common formative assessment and a school board appreciation week. How do you feel now? Spoiler alert, you have to make the common formative assessment and then send it to me for approval.
It's like, it's not
Did that
funny.
make you feel better?
It's not funny.
And then I'm like, no, I think I actually really need some help because I'm really struggling. And they're like, well, we really needed you to be a team player. That wasn't a very team player thing for you to say.
No. Oh, my God.
We need you to look at the positive. We know nothing is perfect. No. And I'm like, no, I think I'm like inches away from needing professional medical help because of my mental health. And they're like, I think you might feel better if you log into the testing platform and get working on that CFA.
See, and I feel so bad for you because you have that at work and then you're like, I'm really struggling. And I'm like, you know what you need? You need a Juicy Couture tracksuit.
It fits perfectly. It is helping a lot.
I wouldn't think it would help, but I was hoping.
It does help. It's been helping a lot. I just sit in my tracksuit making my common formative assessment on the laptop that I paid for with my own money because the one they gave me broke. And I make that I make that assessment.
Of course.
And when I went, this is the hack that I figured out. If your district is making you use a platform that you don't like, if you are incessant enough with your questions, they will let you talk to the company representative yourself.
I did that with my HOA. I called them every day until they were like, you know what? Let me give you the construction company's number.
And I literally was like kikiing with this guy. He was like, it's so rare for me to talk to teachers. And I was like, I bet it is. He used to live in the neighborhood I taught in Miami, so we knew some of the same schools. Like, me and him were having a time. He was giving me book recommendations. And I was like, and I literally, in a 12-minute phone call with him, fixed problems that I had been trying to get answers for a month and a fucking half and had emailed 9 different people within my district and no one could fucking help me. And this one guy literally was like, oh yeah, you just hit this button and you can create your own custom tags. No one showed you that? He was like, we made sure to really show them in the training because we knew that would be important to you guys. And I was like, well, they don't care if we live or die. So Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And then I added him on LinkedIn.
Oh my God, I love that. What a beautiful story of unity and what can happen if you just bitch long enough.
Because every time someone told me they couldn't help me, I would just look in the directory and find another person.
Yeah, there you go.
and then CC the first person. And I'd be like, that person said they can't help me. I see you're in charge of testing administration. Can you help me?
Exactly.
I'm like that chicken from Moana. That's how I feel at work. Just like, hello.
Banging your head, trying to eat a rock.
And they're like, no, you have to eat the rock. And I'm like, it's a rock.
It's a rock, you guys. Well, you know what? I don't know that I have anything else. I mean, we could talk forever, but like, do I have anything constructive to say? I think at a certain point, I divulge into like, you know, when you're getting like brunch and you're talking about the same shit that happened 8 years ago with your friends, and you just keep talking about
going
it.
in circles.
Yeah. I feel like that's my vibe at this point. So I'm like, do I have anything else to add to the conversation? No, not really.
I just saw that the Colombia president is replaced. This is their third leader since August.
Yeah, shit's really crazy.
And like, I want someone to have a backbone. Like, I want any major politician or major university to be like, literally go fuck yourself.
I know.
Like, I'm going to continue doing my job.
I know. I mean, it was so funny to be at that town hall, and when Rep Garcia brought up like calling Elon Musk a dick, the roar from the crowd of approval was insane. It was
Did
like,
you see
crazy.
Tim Walz showing like the Tesla stock? And then did you see Elon Musk talking about it where he literally looked like he was about to cry? That was my favorite thing I've ever seen. He was like, what an evil thing. Why would someone do that? And I was like, have you met you?
I know.
Like, have you literally met you? You disowned your daughter.
I know.
Like, what do you mean?
I know. And he had a child that actually passed away. And that's what kills me, is that he is so fucking evil that he said that his daughter died. And it's like, you've had a child
he was like, my
pass.
son died because his daughter is trans. So he said, my son died from the woke mind.
Mm-hmm. From the woke mind virus. But I love how Tim Walz is always the one to get under his skin. He did it with the weird shit. That was Tim. Yeah. And then
the Democrats told Tim to rein that in. I heard that Joe Biden literally called Tim and was like, shut up about the weird. Shut up.
See, and that's the thing that I get in fights with people that don't know what they're talking about, because behind the scenes of the campaign was a shit show. Mm-hmm. Because Kamala and Tim wanted to do X, Y, and Z, but they were given all of Biden's people. And the message was like, well, we only have 107 days. We have to do everything that we already planned for Joe. And you'll notice, like, I was talking to Under the Desk News on her Substack Live, and she was talking about how, like, if you look through, you can see that, because it's like the ice cream, the aviators, like different points of things were for
like marketing.
Him.
Yeah.
And she just did them. And it's like, Tim should have been allowed, like he said in that interview, to really lean in and like
be creative and be a personality and be yourself. Because like we're in the meme-ification of our country. We're in the reality TV-ification of our country. So like, you have to lean in.
You have to. And that's why Suzanne Lambert is blowing the fuck up and got signed by UTA doing political humor. Like, that's where we are right now, is like, you go low, we go to hell. And that's what people literally want. So I'm so with you. I'm like ready for a rep to be like, I love when I love it.
I've always joked that, like, because when people in my comments will be like, oh my God, you should run for local office, I've always made the joke like, oh, I'm only doing it if I can wear yoga pants. But I feel like now that would hit.
Oh, 100%. We need a new John Fetterman, because he's an asshole.
Like, if I, like the athleisure campaign.
Yes. I literally think that's why Fetterman won.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Because people are like, he's a guy, I'm a guy. We just like our outfits, man. No suits.
Mm-hmm. And now he's lost his ever-loving mind. I can't wait to primary everyone. And people are like, we can't primary these people that are in vulnerable districts, because then what if they lose? And I'm like,
oh, I know. Let's take this voter population that feels like they have no voice and no input at all. I think taking their voice from them further will really get them ready for action and make them trust us. Like, people were already pissed enough that there wasn't a primary for the presidential nominee, me included.
Mm-hmm. There's people that think things about politics that have actually insane ideas. It's like, they are in a vulnerable seat. Fucking primary them.
Yeah.
They should be afraid that they're going to get primaried. They should be afraid that they're going to fucking
every politician, every day when they wake up, they go, oh my God, everyone hates me. What can I do to make my voters happy? I want them in that headspace. I don't want you comfortable.
No. No, I don't.
Make politicians nervous again.
Oh my God.
I want you waking up in a cold sweat at 3 a.m., checking your phone, seeing if anyone's talking about you.
Yeah, I want you texting your assistant from bed, being like, did you tally the calls? How many calls are there now?
What do they want? What do they want? I'll do whatever they want.
What was their zip code? Anyways, wow. What an episode, you guys.
What an episode.
We
hope everyone's doing well, but we anticipate that you're not.
Low key. Yeah,
just to keep it real.
Sorry, guys.
I don't think you're doing well because we're not.
Ain't. That's why we've been gone. But we're back.
We're back and better than ever. And I am going to figure out what I'm doing next year.
We're crowdsourcing ideas for her, so leave them in the comments.
Leave them in
your 5-star review.
Yeah. One thing I'm flirting with that I think would be so fun is doing adult education. I've never done that, and I think I would really like it. And I also really don't want to leave my current district. So I was talking, I'd like to figure out a position at my current school. And like I said, so many other people are leaving, so there's lots of shuffling happening. But there's a position at the district office doing GED classes for parents that I'm like, oh, that could be kind of lit. So I don't know what I'm going to do because I'm definitely staying teaching. But I just I've only ever taught U.S. history to 11th graders, and I just kind of want to try something that's not that. But the list of things I don't want to try is really long. So that's kind of limiting.
Yeah, I think it's exciting in a way because it's like a moment of transition. You're going to look back and be like, wow, a year ago, so much crazy shit was happening. But being in a moment of transition where you're like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know who I'm going to be. It's like very, very stressful.
And like the thing I'm trying really hard not to do that I'm proud of myself for not doing is like, it's so my instinct to want stability and want for sure what I'm doing and want finality. So like, so much of me has had the urge to accept things and be like, that sounds fine. I'll just do it. So I'm trying to remind myself that like, this is not urgent at all. Like it's March right now. The next school year does not start till August. I don't have to make a decision at this exact second in time. Like, even though it'll feel good to have something finalized, I know later I'm going to be like, oh, I wish I had looked into more things. I wish I had like surveyed all my options. So I'm trying to do that now and see what's out there, what I might like, and what kind of unique things are there. And because I'm graduating with my master's in May, that's opening a lot of doors. So I kind of want to wait till I'm done with that to see what doors are open.
Yeah, 100%. And you, thank God you're done with that.
Yeah, almost. I'm in like the part I'm in right now is like not hard. It's just annoying. Like I'm gathering all the evidence from every semester to like submit all my final, it's called a candidate work sample to get my certification. And it's like hundreds of pages. Kind of like EdTPA vibes, but different. So I'm just like, and most of it's done because like that's part of the way my program works is like you do it in little bits and pieces, but I'm so disorganized. I'm like, oh, where's that fucking paper I wrote last July? Let me go find that.
I know, it's a lot.
But it'll be okay, probably.
It will be. It will be. But right now it's just not. And that's life, baby. That's showbiz.
Well, thanks for coming to Teacher Quit Talk. We hope that you're doing okay and that when you read the news, you look for facts. So you should probably just follow Fraz because no one else knows what they're doing.
They really don't.
Do you think there's anyone that finds this podcast that doesn't follow us?
Yes, I know that there is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good.
It's also,
that makes me happy.
We know that for sure because there's people that have mixed our voices up.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah. Anyways, we love you.
Okay. Love you. Adios, people. Just as a disclaimer, because I am someone who is actively teaching, everything on this podcast is my personal opinion and does not reflect my district, my state, my employer, my students, or my admin. Everything on this podcast was recorded on personal time, on personal equipment, and is a completely separate endeavor from my school district.
Yeah, leave her alone.